You're listening to Star Wars Brew Crew. I'm Thomas Prentice.
I'm Scarlett Burgess.
And we're here to talk about a certain film. What film is it?
The Force Awakens.
Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's a Star Wars podcast after all. Force Awakens is an interesting film. It's number 7 in the Skywalker saga. And it's set roughly 30 years after A New Hope. So it's...
Or is it Return of the Jedi?
Or Return of the Jedi. Yeah. There's only a few years between them, so...
Oops.
Roughly, estimation here. Not exact. We're not a fact podcast.
100%. I only watched a few clips on YouTube and I held it 2 times speed because I didn't have time to watch the whole film. So it was quite fun to see it just being like...
There's not that much lightsabering in it, really.
Yeah.
But there's more lightsabering than in the A New Hope. But it was created by J.J. Abrams. He's the main man between that. It is in the post-Disney era.
It's in the Disney era.
In the Disney era.
Post-Disney era would mean someone else bought it and God knows what they'd come up with.
It was highly received at the box office.
It made so much money.
I think it's made over $1 billion, definitely. It might be $2 billion worldwide now. It's
definitely up there.
It's up there. I think a lot of people are excited for character returns, such as Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia Organa, Chewbacca, R2-D2, C-3PO, but for Red Arm.
R2 was just as old the entire time and only came back in because the plot demanded it. And then Luke just chilling on an island. So people who wanted to see him probably were very disappointed.
But not just the characters, it's the feeling was very much encapsulated from the first film into this one. The way you've got a nobody on a sand planet who's force sensitive. There's the Empire. This time it's the First Order, but I feel like a lot of original Star Wars fans can relate to it. There's many aspects to the film which are very nostalgia ridden, and it makes it quite interesting. It does definitely feel like a Star Wars film, and we'll get onto that in a bit in Where and other sections of the film. And yeah, in the podcast. Also, for those wondering, news this week. Is there any news?
I couldn't really find any. There was I think we got some new photos from Skeleton Crew, but I think that was right after we had finished recording last week's podcast. So technically it does count. So if you want to see those 2 photos, head over to Star Wars' Instagram and you'll see Jude Law and the rest of the cast blurred out behind him. So if you just want to see Jude Law, this is up your alley. And then if you swipe, there's like pirates. They're going to be in the show. It's crazy.
It's a Jude Law selfie.
Yeah. So I saw a TikTok comment where it's like Jude Law's aged really badly, and I felt so offended. That was just so out of pocket. Like he might have makeup on. He might be looked older because old Jedi are extremely stressed 24/7. So
are they old Jedi stressed
24/7? You know how Yoda got those wrinkles?
Because he's 900 years old. That's not stress. That's just pure age.
Do you know how stressed he was in that 900 years? Do you know what happened to him in the High Republic?
No,
he went on holiday because he was so stressed, and he came back he went away during a war.
But a Jedi, to connect with the Force, and surely the older they get, the more of a connection they get with it. They get to know it. They're like, yo, Force, what's going on? So overall, Jude Law, old Jedi. Stressed. It is
I think he
post Return of the Jedi, isn't it? So the Empire's not hunting him anymore, but is he really a Jedi, or is he just a Force next Jedi?
Oh, he's called Jod, so I've never heard the name Jod before, because if I did hear the name Jod, I would have remembered it.
Yeah, but it has no link to being a Jedi.
It starts with a J.
I know in the promotional material he's labelled a Jedi, but I guess we'll have to wait till the actual show to work out whether he's like an ex-Jedi.
To be fair, he might just be lying.
Or
he might just be straight up lying.
That could be a good thing. You had the fake Jedi in Kenobi, which I found really fun. I really enjoyed it.
I lost my connection with the Force, and it's just because he's just lying. Yeah, because you did have that fake Jedi, didn't you? It's just like magic tricks.
You use magnets a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that is
pretty fun.
I completely forgot about that idea.
I don't know what they're going for that show. It's meant to be a family sit around, but I don't know if there's a market for that in Star Wars.
To be fair, Star Wars is supposed to be for kids, but I feel like we've moved on from that because all the kids who grew up with it are now grown up.
And they still watch it.
And they have internet access, so we have internet access. Yeah. We know what we want.
No one knows where Star Wars is going.
If I see a kid anywhere to do with Star Wars, I'm like, what are you doing here? If I see a kid in the Lego store in the Star Wars section, I'm like, move. I want to see the Death Star. I want to see the Star Destroyer.
It's made for kids, but a lot of people still enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, the act like they straight up snap someone's neck. I don't think as a kid you'd really want to be seeing that. I don't think as an adult you wouldn't want your kids to be seeing that, which is why it's for the adults.
Anyway, we've done the news and a little bit of context, and now we've got to go on to The Force Awakens. So we'll start off with our normal first topic on the film, which are
winners and losers.
Yes, it is that. I'm trying to think of the grammar, not what the topic is.
Which are
winners and losers? Which is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just say it like really quietly so that no one can say. Just be like, which winners and losers.
I just say it really fast. Which winners and losers? Anyway, winners and losers. This is the part of the podcast where we go over who are our winners.
We've lost it. We're
Can
done.
you tell I've been to a 9 a.m. lecture today, and I've been up early.
I had a job interview as well. Wish me luck.
Busy day. Our winners and losers of the certain Star Wars project. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is take it with a pinch of salt, I would say. It's our personal opinions, and often it's not serious at all.
Yeah.
For calling one a loser, they're not like really a loser. No one's really a loser. In the same way, no one's really a winner because their characters, they all have flaws. They all have pros and cons.
Some more than others.
Yeah. But
pinch of salt.
it's a good way to get into the characters of the project. So, winners. You started off last time, so I'll go with my first winner. Mm-hmm. It's Chewbacca.
Yes!
I think, first thing, it's 30 years later, and he still looks brilliant. I know.
So good. Not grey hair in sight.
I know they age differently.
Doesn't matter.
But it does not
count.
matter. He still looks great. But what gets me is, first thing, the shot at Kylo Ren near the end of the film. What a shot. Like, that was...
Literally helps Finn and Rey survive later.
Away,
yeah.
And he just perfects it.
Because he always carries that crossbow thing, but we hardly ever really see him use it. I swear.
And
or I'm just not remembering it correctly.
And another part of it also has to do with the crossbow shot, but the fact he's still with Han 30 years later.
Not even Leia could do that.
Yeah.
He must be absolutely insufferable, and yet Chewie is still there without a medal.
Because he owes him a life debt.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Solo. A Star Wars
he does
story.
get his medal, doesn't he?
Exactly. Is that in Rise of Skywalker, or is that at the end of Force Awakens?
I swear it's in this film. But anyway, he deserves his medal, definitely, because...
He doesn't even get a hug from Leia at the end.
I mean, he owes a life debt to Han, but I didn't realise... I mean, Han, to be honest, a bit of a dick move for... Because we even see his family. He's got a family, Chewbacca.
Oh, yeah.
But he's still with Han after 30 years because he's like, I still owe this guy. And Han's like, yep, I'll take that help. Everyone else has left me. Chewie, you're staying. But Chewie still holds his promise, even though I don't think he necessarily should for Han Solo.
Well, technically in this film, his life debt does end.
Yeah.
Oops. Also, the fact that he takes the shot at Kylo and then he's the one who blows up the base, the shield. Because if Chewbacca wasn't there, that wouldn't have happened. Finn and Rey weren't doing it. Han wasn't doing it. He's dead. So Chewbacca was the only one who could do it, and he did it. He led them to victory. It was great. What else have I got on Chewbacca?
I just said a brilliant warrior, and the fact he's still by Han's side, I think that's amazing.
Also, the joke where they're on like the ice snow planet, and then Han's like, "That's not how the Force works," and then Chewie does a little, "Roar," and then Han's like, "What? You're cold?" That was so funny. I don't know why that got me, but it's. It was just like the best joke I've ever heard. So my standards are low, but because can I say a loser, but it's not a character?
You're going to say the director's a loser?
The writing specifically of the jokes of this film lost so bad. The Chewie I'm cold joke was the only joke that was funny because the opening scene of the movie. It's like
Are you talking about Poe Dameron and Kylo Ren? Do I talk first? Do you talk first?
Yeah, So, in A New Hope, when Leia is taken to Darth Vader and Tarkin, she makes some jokes. She's like, I recognized your foul stench when you were on board. You know, she still carries herself with dignity and grace, but she understands the situation that she's in. But to try and protect herself, she is putting up this shield. Darth Vader, I knew you were going to be at the end of the leash. They are jokes, but they're serious jokes. Like, she's trying to get at them. And then, to almost as if it's like a punishment, they blow up her home planet, Alderaan. After that, no jokes, completely serious. She is mourning her family. In the beginning of The Force Awakens, they do this in the wrong order. Kylo talks to the old man, Lor Santekka, a little exchange, very serious. You know he's after something. He strikes down this old, defenseless man right in front of Poe. Poe sends a retaliation shot, freezes in midair. He just saw this old man get struck down, no defenses. He just took a shot at Kylo Ren. He should not be surviving. He gets forced down on his knees. And then you hear, who talks first? Should I talk first? And then Kylo Ren says something else. And then, I can't understand you with all the apparatus. And it's like, why? They did it in the wrong order. It was catastrophic event, then joke. It shouldn't be that. It should be joke, catastrophic event, like they do in A New Hope. After that joke, Poe gets in 2 jokes. He is still alive by the end of this entire franchise.
They need him to find the map Skywalker.
I know, but they could still have Poe have his jokes and show he's a joking character, but then also make Kylo Ren look so terrifying that he
already
literally
looks terrifying though.
No, because he does look scary, but it just doesn't make sense to me that
I think it makes Poe Dameron look like a fool rather than making
Yes, it
Kylo
does, but
Ren
he
look
would be
scary.
a fool before that as well. I really feel like it doesn't work. How is it that the first line that our main character says, the first 2 lines that our main character says to the big villain, because Snoke doesn't end up going anywhere, how is it that the first 2 lines are 2 jokes aimed directly personally at Kylo Ren, and then later on we see him completely rip up his entire office just because he's upset? Like, you're telling me he wouldn't have stabbed Poe immediately? It just doesn't make any sense to me, and it does not make me scared of Kylo Ren.
He does go on to torture Poe.
Yes, I know, but he tortures everyone. But he literally killed an old man in front of him, even though he still could have given him information.
No, because he knew he wasn't needed to find the information.
But he still could have asked him. Just makes no sense. I feel like the order that they did it in New Hope works so much better. They were trying to do a Leia and Darth Vader situation, but that was serious. This one is just silly. It does not make me scared of him at all.
Anyway, can we continue with winners and losers rather than ranting about this film?
The writing team did lose for the entire thing, I think.
I don't think they lost.
Oh, they did all right, but they just literally watched A New Hope and were like, you can copy my homework, just don't make it obvious.
Well, we can get onto that later. What's your winner then?
Leia. Like, she's a general now. She broke up with Han. Good for her. And then she still kind of takes him back, but then he's dead. So, you know, she's just slaying her way through it. She's fine. I mean, my winner was mostly Chewbacca, because whatever he appears in, he's always a winner for me. R2 shows up right at the end with the map. That was great.
But why isn't Rey, Poe, or Finn a winner?
I think Rey is a winner to me. It's just that some stuff just doesn't really make sense. I feel like they are good characters. It's just the older characters shine, but they are old characters. The new ones should be better. It's just, there's just something about it. I do really like Rey. It's just, I feel like, I would say Finn is a winner, but after this film, they completely waste his potential.
You could have considered him a winner for episode 7.
He held his own against Kylo Ren, yes, and
he wanted to run away multiple times. He was just, he saw his friend die in front of him, and you've got the mark of the blood identifying him against the other.
That was pretty good. That was a good idea from the designers.
The only thing that doesn't really make him a loser is that when he confronts Phasma,
doesn't really make him a loser.
He's just like, yeah, take that now, you idiot, which is the Disney humor, which is it's like that's just not cool. That you have to be cool to be a winner. A little bit cool at least.
Like Poe's cool, but not in that first scene, which I've already established. But it's just also Finn's journey is just so interesting because he leaves the stormtroopers. He doesn't even have a name. Poe gives him his name. We don't even know if he responds to Finn for the rest of the movie because he'd be so not used to. He feels so connected to Rey because she's literally one of the first people who sees him for him, his face. They are on this adventure together. So I know everyone's like, later on, he's like, Rey, constantly. But she means so much to him. And I like that it's not in a romantic way. I like that it's in a platonic, just really cares about her because she is literally one of the first people to know him as Finn, not FN
2187.
2187, yeah.
Don't ask why I know that off by heart.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to the later films, and if we ever get to Rise of Skywalker, I think that'd be more. That's more of a therapy session than anything else. With my 5 stages of grief with that film, I think I'm still on the 4th stage. I can't remember what it is now.
Bargaining?
No, I think I'm over bargaining.
Oh,
it's the one after
you've
bargaining.
moved on to acceptance.
No, I'm not acceptance yet.
Bargaining 2.0.
I think there's a stage between bargaining and acceptance.
Revenge? No, that's after acceptance. Well, we'll just skip to revenge.
I think Finn could be considered a winner, but his interaction with Phasma towards the end of the film just ruins it very slightly.
Yeah.
And same thing with Poe. He could be a winner for the rest of the film, but his first interaction with Kylo Ren hurts that. Rey, I think she still doesn't know what she's doing. I don't think
such a weird journey.
She knows what she's doing till the next film.
Yeah.
And that's when you could then consider her a winner.
It's once she finds Luke Skywalker that I feel like her story properly starts. Because half of this film, she's literally in a cell. She's being held by the First Order. And then Finn goes to get her. And they meet in the thing. But she's not even with the Resistance for most of it.
What I will say is Rey is the spiritual successor to Leia in terms of weird faces during action sequences. I don't know if you've seen the stills of Leia when like she's holding the gun.
Her
and
eyes are closed.
And she's like, and Rey also has some weird faces during action scenes, and
it's great.
Daisy Ridley is the successor in Star Wars.
She's such a brilliant actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely the right choice.
That's more of Daisy Ridley being a winner than Rey.
I can't believe we've moved on to Daisy Ridley being a winner than any of the other characters.
But there's just like when I see her do a face in the action sequence, it just makes me think of Leia so much, and I love that. Talked about winners. Now it's the losers. How do you want to start this one off? Me, you?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. My first loser is. It's like half a loser. It's Kylo Ren, but he's only a loser because he's down bad for Rey from day one. Now, I always took Reylo with a pinch of salt, and I don't remember the film being that Reylo intensified. Mm-hmm. But rewatching it, it is really weird. Because when there's a general in the First Order talking to Kylo Ren about what's happened on Jakku, which is like the droid and the stormtrooper have escaped, and he's like, oh, damn it. And then the guy was like, they're accompanied by a girl. And as soon as the general says that, Kylo Ren like force drags him towards him and starts choking him. And he was like, what girl? And it's like, why is he so fazed by a girl helping them? Either he's incredibly sexist or just incredibly just has not seen a girl for years and is down bad and he just needs something.
Are there no girl Imperials? Is there no one in that cockpit he could stare at for half an hour?
But there's more. It's like as soon as he sees Rey in the forest on Maz's castle planet, whatever it's called, he also instantly like freezes her, and he instantly goes like, "The girl I've heard so much about," which is like it feels
like,
very much like a
mean?
man trying to interact with a woman he likes the look of but doesn't know what to say. So he's like, the girl I've heard very much about. Hi, he just freezes up.
Put them
He
in
doesn't know what to say.
spoons. I literally have heard the exact same conversation in spoons.
Exactly. and it's just lines like that. And then when they go into the is it Star Destroyer, Starkiller Base, that's it, where Rey's locked up and he does the mind things. He's like, Rey's like, where am I? Because she wants to know where she is. And then Kylo's like, you're my guest. Which is like really weird.
All right, Lumiere, calm down. Jesus. Stop Beauty and the Beast.
And then there's a scene later on where it's Hux, Kylo Ren, and Snoke. And I think Snoke says, like, why have you kidnapped the girl instead of taking the droid? And then Hux like cuts in and goes, well, he thought taking the girl would be the only thing they need. And the droid is not important. And Snoke's like, well, the droid's probably with the Resistance now, so that was stupid. And then Kylo's just like, well, no, she's strong in the Force, guys. I promise she's worth it. It's like he's arguing to why because he does go after Rey and not the droid, which the logical thing would be going after the droid, especially if you know the droid is on the planet that you're on. It seems like he just has a fascination with Rey from day one, but it's not like as soon as he meets Rey, he has a fascination. It's as soon as he hears of her. Just a little mention, and that's the part where it's a bit weird. It could just be like a weird writing. They probably didn't mean it that way. Yeah. Maybe they did.
No, they did, because also in the interrogation scene, the line, you know I can take whatever I want, straight to her face. She calls him a creature in the mask, takes it off immediately so she can see how hot he is. He wanted something. He wanted something.
But I think he was just confused about his feelings.
Maz Kanata.
Whoa, no.
One line.
She's so sweet.
One line. She is only like 1% a loser because one of her lines is, that is a good question for another time, when asked about how she got Luke's lightsaber. Now, she didn't know Disney Plus would exist yet, and we still have not got to that other time for how we know she got hold of Luke's lightsaber, and it's really annoying.
Sure, there isn't a comic about it.
I'm not sure, but I haven't heard of it. I feel like if someone found out how Maz Kanata got hold of that lightsaber, they would immediately share it out. And we still do not know how she got that lightsaber. It is almost a decade later, and she has not spilled a single bean. Not even a Disney Plus show.
That's Disney's fault, not her
fault. I know,
fault.
But just why didn't you tell them then?
Because the First Order are coming.
You can say 2 words.
The First Order's coming.
And a time. Planet time. Planet and time. That's all I need, Maz. Get on it right now.
I found it on Bespin a few years ago.
You're that all you Maz. Wanted?
Is that all you wanted?
Are you wearing her glasses? Are you running her bar?
No,
or
but
whatever
is that
she's
all
got?
You want? Just like I
just want to know how she got that lightsaber.
No, because saying how she got it is different from saying when and where she got it. How she got it is a story.
How encapsulates that entire thing.
Where
there is a
and
reason how isn't one of the 5 W's, because you can ask how and then you can have the entire 5 W's in there.
She didn't have time to say fully how. But she could have said where and when.
Exactly.
But
I just want to know.
That's as important
and
as
then
how.
I'll trace back. I just want... Han asked her for a reason, and then she just didn't tell him because that would have taken, 5 seconds? If it was a really long story, sure.
They had to go. They had to do stuff.
I know. We're way too chill about this.
I don't think it's a big deal because Luke lost it.
Imagine if in Rey's new movie, she's like, I have Darth Maul's lightsaber. And then we're like, where did she get that from? She's like, that is a good question for another time. No, and then you die before you find out.
We don't see Darth... All right, the only reason why it's okay is because we see Luke's lightsaber fall off and disappear. Where just saying, oh, I've got Mace Windu's lightsaber, it's like, well, where was his lightsaber? Somewhere in Coruscant.
Well, Mace Windu fell off and disappeared, you know?
Yeah,
so you could grab his lightsaber from him any time.
Someone probably found it on Coruscant and then it's been traded. And the same thing with Luke's lightsaber. Someone probably found it on the floors of Bespin and was like, trades. And then it's not going to be a massive
Then why did she not just tell Han, I traded it, I bought it? Why is it a good story for another time? She said specifically, a good question, actually, good question. She said it's a good question. There is a story behind it. It is not just a trade. Otherwise, she would have said trade. she bought it or something like that. There is a story behind it. They just haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured out. They just needed Rey to get that lightsaber so that they could change all of the merch from Luke's lightsaber to Rey's lightsaber for some reason.
You mean from Anakin's lightsaber to Rey's lightsaber?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sorry. They just needed to change it from Anakin's lightsaber to Rey's lightsaber for some reason, but then they give her own lightsaber anyway, so what's the point? But that would be a good thing if she didn't say it's a good question.
It's so they don't have to remake the molds for the lightsabers. They can just change the packaging, and then they can make more money.
Yeah, because I don't really see like Rey's yellow lightsaber anywhere, even though it's really pretty. Even though that's Rise of Skywalker. Oops.
Well, she should have got that lightsaber from the start of Rise of Skywalker, not at the end. Yeah. Then repairing the Skywalker lightsaber was a bit...
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Felt a bit cheap. It's a bit of a small loser, but Unkar, do you know who I mean by Unkar?
Is that the guy on Jakku?
Yeah, who does like 60 portions
Why?
for the droid.
Oh, I thought you were about to say it was a winner. He's a loser.
No, he's a loser.
Yeah. No.
He's just a loser because basically he scams these scavengers out of their money.
Mm-hmm.
And then within the course of about 10 minutes, his ship gets stolen, the Millennium Falcon, even though he stole it for someone else, but his ships get stolen.
See, Han had time to say
his whole house gets bombed. And it's like, well, if he wasn't so mean to people, maybe that wouldn't have happened. It's just karma.
Yeah, so, also, he's going to kidnap BB-8, which is really mean.
Well, yeah, exactly. He was a meanie, and he got punishment for it. So
exactly.
Yeah, and then Phasma,
unlike Poe,
looks so cool, but gets thrown in the trash.
Yeah,
like she looks so cool.
She's got a novel and everything. Like, what is in that novel? There's literally no material except it's a shiny stormtrooper. What, like, it's 80 pages of polishing?
No, it's a lot more than that.
90 pages of polishing. Jesus Christ.
No, it's not more.
Who wrote this?
I believe it goes into like her background, and her armor was taken off an old Naboo ship because it's like the same material as the shiny Naboo stuff.
Why?
Because it's like very resistant to
Why
stuff.
has no stormtrooper done that before then?
Because it's expensive.
You're telling me Phasma was the only loaded stormtrooper?
No, she like found the ship and then did it.
And that was allowed. Why?
Because like I think it's nepotism. I think her dad was important.
Of course it is. It always is.
Sounds about right. It's the Empire.
Yeah,
of course it's
fair.
nepotism.
Yeah. It's probably like a second cousin of Vader or something.
I mean, it's like when Vader went to recruit Luke, he was like, join me and we can rule as father and son. It's like he's instantly offering him the top job.
Yeah.
He's not like, oh, do you mind if you intern for a few years and maybe you can have the position? It's instantly, you're the big man with me. Go for it.
Ridiculous.
And same thing with like Kylo. It's like, join me and we can rule the world. And it's like, she's like, does she not have to do some training in like finance or product, like any form of management at all?
I don't know.
Sanitation,
not even that.
The thing with Palpatine, Papa Palps, is that he spent, I don't know how many years, but so many years in politics. He was a senator. Yeah. He ran as a normal chancellor for years. Like he knew how to run a country. Well, not a country, but like an organization.
He knew how to run Naboo and then the entire galaxy.
Yeah, it's like you look at Luke, it's like, how is he going to run stuff?
He's not.
But that's probably why
he's got them Chanel boots and a dream.
He stayed as a Jedi, where Leia, she then went on to become
general,
far
more successful
leader,
and a single lady.
Because she's a good leader.
She's a great leader. She's an impeccable leader.
And yeah, so
she led the rebellion to victory twice.
I'm not sure where this is going.
30 years apart.
But shall we move on to Weir, or shall we go on to
the fight?
The fight rant.
Okay, so I don't know how to categorize this as like a winner or a loser, but
it's not anything. It's just a rant.
It's just a rant. So this is a new
Instead of
feature.
raining the rancor, it's ranting the rancor.
Just rant. So I've got to go past all of this. So for the fight, when she summons over the lightsaber, because Kylo's reaching for it as well. Earlier on in the film, we see that she gets a flashback the second she touches that lightsaber. My guess is that the kyber crystal aligns with her. She feels it, otherwise she wouldn't have had that flashback. They don't really show it very well.
Yeah, because kyber crystals can choose people,
yes,
can't they?
I feel like when she touched it, the kyber crystal decided to reveal all, and then now it's chosen. So then obviously when two people are summoning at once, it's going to go for the one it feels the most attached to. Which is why that scene in the basement at Maz Kanata's is extremely important. despite it just showing
because
up.
you could say the Rey is using the Force to grab the Kyber crystal, but the Kyber crystal also has control
Ooh.
over the Force as well.
Actually.
So when she goes to summon it, the Kyber crystal is resisting Kylo Ren's Force, allowing Rey's Force to take hold. Even if Kylo Ren's Force is stronger than Rey's overall, the Kyber crystal may be doing work against him.
I think Kylo Ren is trying to summon the material of the lightsaber. He is picturing the metal, the screws that make it up. Rey is summoning the Kyber crystal inside, and obviously the Kyber crystal is stronger. So I feel like Kylo Ren is trying to summon the lightsaber itself. Rey is finding the Kyber crystal and calling that over to her, which I think is why she gets it first.
The Kyber crystal does work on the Force as well,
This
whether
isn't
that's
physics.
to help Rey or whether that's to stop Kylo. I think the Kyber crystal does do something there.
So for the fight, before that, Kylo is fighting with Finn. He is toying with Finn. He has no plans
I
for
don't
Finn.
think he's toying as much with Finn because Finn still went quite a while.
Finn went quite a while,
combat trained.
but once
and
Finn
still
got a
Force
single
sensitive.
blow onto Kylo Ren immediately disarmed him. Once Kylo Ren gets a cut from Finn, immediately disarmed. Finn only lasted that long because Kylo was not trying to attack. He was just warding off his defenses because he didn't want anything to do with Finn. The second Finn landed a blow on Kylo, immediately disarmed. Kylo could have done that the entire time.
I think he was actually struggling a little bit against Finn because he was injured. But then when Finn laid an attack on him, it allowed him to use more anger, more dark side Force to then overcome Finn.
It's basically the same thing, just differently. I mean, he was injured.
I think he was still trying to defeat Finn from day one, though, because he's not after Finn.
But the fact he disarmed
He's
him
after
immediately
Rey.
after getting hit.
Yeah, because he's now got more Force ability.
I feel like he just
And
his
Darth
ego
Maul
was hit.
survived for years, cut in half, because he was just really angry at Obi-Wan.
You know what? Same. Me and Maul are like this. Anyway.
So I think Kylo did... It was when he got hit by Finn that he just had more anger, more pain, and that's allowed him to finally quickly dispatch him in a short outburst.
Anyway, Rey sees Finn is on the ground. She's obviously feeling very upset, just struck down her best friend, basically. Maybe even her first friend. Maybe they're both each other's first connections. Anyway, Rey gets the lightsaber. The fight is messy. Rey is running away at the same time. Kylo is focused on taunting her, then attacking. He just burned the sides of his lightsaber into Finn just because he could, so that he could see Finn get some pain. Rey is not confronting him, but is backing away instead, and is only forced to confront him when the ground behind her has crumbled away. She physically has nowhere else to go. And then once she is confronted on the side of the cliff, you can see in Daisy Ridley's face that she is grunting with effort and pain. This is difficult for her. He could easily push her off, but he doesn't. He doesn't push her off.
Snoke does say to Kylo Ren, "Bring the girl to me." And if he's afraid of Snoke, he's got to follow Snoke's orders.
Rey is running.
The other added part of it is he has to try and get Rey with all his might.
Kylo is going after Rey, but not to fight her, but to convince her. The only time he talks to her is when she is literally pinned against a dark void. She cannot fall down. He could easily push her off. He doesn't. He is trying to convince her to join him. It's literally the same as when Luke in Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is on the catwalk thing in his Chanel boots, and then Darth Vader was like, "You should join me," because Darth Vader and Luke fight before that. But for a fact Darth Vader is not trying to kill Luke, because then he wouldn't have his son to lead with him, his student. He cuts off his hand because
Again, the Emperor wanted
exactly.
Luke.
It's a very similar situation, and he tries to stop her. He doesn't try to push her off. He stops her weak attacks with pickup lines like, "Come join me on the other side." He is in control the entire time of the fight. It is only when he reminds Rey that the Force exists, when Rey is closing her eyes trying to summon the Force, Kylo Ren is looking so intently at her. he thinks she is considering. He does not feel like she is summoning the Force. He almost gets closer to her. You think he looks like he thinks that she is considering his offer. So when she eventually beckons the Force, he does not expect it. He is knocked off his guard because he did not expect Rey to fight back. He does
look knocked off his guard.
Exactly. So once Rey retaliates with the Force, he is knocked off his guard. He physically cannot believe that Rey has basically declined his offer.
Or his ego's so big that he doesn't think he can be rejected.
So when he is now backing away from her because she has now summoned the Force, and then they get into a physical thing. They're both holding their lightsabers away from each other. It is now a test of strength. And Rey, being a scavenger, basically her entire life has become really strong from being a scavenger. So, of course, if she faces off against Kylo Ren, who is now injured, his ego is flattened, he's just been rejected by the girl of his dreams. Of course, she would overcome him in a physical fight, and then eventually she slashes his face, which she kisses anyway, at the end of the thing. Anyway, so that is my reasoning. I think once Rey beckons on the Force, it gets a little bit thing. But if you really think about it, Kylo Ren is just so proud that the fact that Rey declined it and he can't be with Rey in his little Imperial base, he's unhappy and his ego is crushed, and that is why Rey overpowers him.
The fact is he's injured and he really needs Rey to join him, whether it's because he just likes her and he's just down bad.
Yeah.
But that's because Snoke's depending on him and he doesn't want to upset Snoke. Or maybe it's just he's lonely. I don't know. It could be anything. And the fact that when she does freeze up and close her eyes, he does relax, doesn't he, a little bit? He doesn't... He's not like, hurry up. He's like, oh, she's thinking. See what happens.
Oh, any moment now, she'll say yes.
And I don't think he can bring himself to kill her.
Yeah, no, he can't.
Because, again, they're linked together in the Force dyad and whatever, and that could also play a part in it.
She can hurt him, though. She had no problem in slashing his face up. So, yeah. Anyway, that is my reasoning. You can take it.
Rant.
There was reasoning in there somewhere. But it is a bit of a grey area, and I'm definitely welcome to other opinions, but that is me rationalising it. And to me, it makes sense, but I understand to other people it's...
Well, part of Star Wars is making Star Wars make sense by creating theories. That's why Star Wars theories are as big as they are, and people have made whole careers out of them.
Like, I understand that Kylo Ren is an experienced duelist. However, is he? Like, there aren't many Jedi around for him to fight with a lightsaber. He might have only been fighting with training.
Snoke didn't use a lightsaber.
Exactly. I tried to look at the comics, but it seems... Like, even if you take into account after he shut down Luke's Jedi temple, there's obviously not going to be many Jedi because all of the Jedi in the Jedi temple were killed. And Luke went away. Luke went somewhere. So who was he actually fighting with a lightsaber for people to say he was an experienced duelist? Like, how many fights did he actually be in?
He still had Jedi training from Luke Skywalker till he's... I don't know what the age is. I'm guessing till about 11.
I know, but... It's 14, probably quite
maybe.
A gap.
Well, if he did have training till he was 14, that's the same level as Ahsoka when we first see her.
No, Ahsoka kept fighting.
No, when we first see Ahsoka, she's 14.
Yeah, no, but then she went through the entire Clone Wars and had to use her lightsaber basically in her sleep.
If we assume like her lightsaber skill at age 14 is the same as Kylo Ren's lightsaber skill at age 14, he would still be quite experienced.
No, but imagine if Ahsoka just stopped training. Like, the bulk of Ahsoka's training happened in the Clone Wars. She's only as good as she is because it was built up over time.
But
if you look at the early episodes of the Clone Wars, she's actually not doing that mad stuff. It's basically just deflecting. It is when you get to season 7 when she fends off the clones themselves. That is insane. You're telling me Kylo could have fended off human shots? No.
No, but same thing with Ahsoka from the start of the Clone Wars. She couldn't do that either.
Exactly. It is only through training over the course of a few years.
You're comparing lightsaber against blaster bolts.
I know, I'm just saying Ahsoka wasn't as good.
I think Ahsoka against Rey, but Ahsoka Clone Wars Season 1 start, I would say that she's more experienced than Rey.
She's definitely more experienced than Rey.
And she would beat Rey, but you don't have the context with Kylo Ren having to capture Rey for Snoke or for himself. You don't have the context of Ahsoka being injured or because Ren's injured when he goes against Rey. and she doesn't have the same ego as Ren,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's different. So I think he is an experienced duelist, but I think all those context outweighs it.
Yeah.
I think he is an experienced duelist to a certain point.
He is messy, though. You must admit, he is messy.
Yeah, but that's part of his form. He's Form 5, which is meant to be quite messy and explosive.
I know, but it just looks messy. Clean up.
He's not... he's not a clean... Where you see Count Dooku, he's more Form 2, which is very smooth and elegant.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's lightsaber forms. That's going way too deep into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into Weir.
Why would I rewatch?
Why would I rewatch? Which seems like for you, you've been ranting. So would you rewatch it?
Yes.
And why? Go on. It's why would I rewatch, not
Well,
if I would rewatch.
All things considered, it is a good Star Wars film. Like, if I was to watch a film from the sequel trilogy, I would choose The Force Awakens because it does feel like very classic Star Wars. It has those story tropes, stuff like that. The droid, BB-8, I think because obviously BB-8 was made as a toy. However, they did go hard with the design. They didn't just be like, let's just do R2, just a smaller version and be done. BB-8 is actually very well designed. So I think it's the new, slightly different designs on things we already know and love because this is in the future. So, of course, things would have developed a bit. I think that is quite a nice touch. And even though there is some improvements in design and stuff like that, it still feels like classic Star Wars.
Yeah, because compared to the way the prequels went, which was this is a different era with different design language and everything, because all the ships look a lot different. Similar, but they're still a lot different. I mean, you look at the Naboo fighters versus X-Wings, completely different.
Yeah.
Where the sequels went for a more of an evolution design rather than like a separate one.
Yeah.
Where the X-Wings, they look different, but they're still very much an X-Wing.
Yeah.
The TIE fighters, yeah, they look different, but they're still very much a TIE fighter.
Yeah. Why would you rewatch them?
Why would I rewatch? Now, I've watched the original 6 Star Wars films quite a few times. Too many times, you could say. And this feels like a weird spin-off sequel that still fits into the lore, but doesn't in a way. It does feel very Star Warsy. It definitely does. But it's not seen as perfect as the original 6 are.
Yeah.
It does feel like Star Wars, and it is a decent enough film as well.
Yeah.
So I think if I'm going to rewatch any film, it's going to be one of the original 6. Unless I've watched all of them recently, then my next logical choice is Episode 7.
The Force Awakens, yeah.
So that is why I'd rewatch. The one thing I will
Because
say,
you've run out of prequels and originals to
yeah,
watch.
but it still
Fair enough.
satisfies the Star Wars itch.
Satisfies.
One thing I will say is character intros throughout the whole film. The way Kylo Ren's introduced, the way Poe Dameron's introduced, the way Finn's introduced, the way Rey's introduced. They're all very good introductions.
Yes, but not Kylo and Poe.
No, but that's character interaction. I think when Kylo first comes in with the intro, going down and instantly kills the guy.
Lord Santeca.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
that's
but then
brilliant.
that's ruined by the jokes. I no longer feel
still
scared
don't think
of him.
it is.
It is. You're telling me Poe got to get to him.
Poe, it's like, this is hope and stuff. And it's good interaction. Finn, I mean, what an entrance of the... You see him like freeze up, and then you see the blood go across his helmet, and like the camera shots for it.
That's the best one. Yeah.
And then Rey, it's like you see her opening something, and it's like, hello, I'm the new main character. That's quite fun. And you really get into a sense of what her life is as a scavenger in her opening shot.
Yeah, and it literally sums up her entire life in just a few minutes. So you can tell that when she gets the adventure, she's going for it.
So I think the character introductions are also very good in this film. And is very fitting for something that's a new trilogy. I think it's very good. But then what they went on to do with the characters, some were good, some were bad.
Character endings,
But that's for the other films, not this film. Anyway,
Let's move on.
let's move on to Reigning the Rancor, this is where if we could theoretically take the reins of Lucasfilm, whether that's during the project or after the project, and what direction we want it to go. I'll start off with, I want a little bit more on the New Republic.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in the book, is it Bloodline, the one about Leia?
I don't know. I'll have to check that.
I'm not sure, but
check.
I believe she became the Chancellor at some point after episode 6, or she was very high up in the Senate, and then people found out who her dad was, Darth Vader, and that made her look very bad. But it also meant people didn't take her seriously. So when rumors of the First Order started coming about, she was like, we need to create an army or something to defend against First Order. The New Republic didn't take her seriously at all. They didn't think it was a thing. So she then went on to make the Resistance, which is part of the New Republic, but also not. It's separate from it because the New Republic doesn't believe that the First Order is as big as a threat as Leia is saying. And I think her credibility was taken away because of Darth Vader.
I mean, I want to see the fallout from literally destroying the base planet of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Like, there is no consequences to that somehow.
That is another area because then the First Order then controls the galaxy for episode 8 and 9, but we don't really see it.
Yeah.
They don't feel like an empire. They just feel like a massive group of pirates going around and round and around. I don't know how they would have the infrastructure to control the galaxy because the Empire was born out of the Republic, which already controlled most of the galaxy. But then the First Order they're in the unknown regions. They're going to have to invade every single planet to take control.
Yeah. But we had seen that infrastructure be put in place for the original Empire, which is why when the switch happens in Revenge of the Sith, it is understandable because obviously the Emperor is voted in, the Grey Emperor. But I just don't know how the First Order just suddenly took control. Because they won't
have troops on every planet.
Exactly.
Maybe in most of the planets in the Outer Rim, but all the Mid Rim and Inner Rim, they're going to have to invade every single one of those.
Yeah. I feel like they might need like an Andor type situation to expand on the First Order and if there's a control thing there, because at the moment there is literally nothing about the First Order and their effect on the galaxy.
Because say you're in a planet like Naboo, and you're like, oh no, the Hosnian Prime's been blown up.
That's
the home
name.
of the New Republic.
I forgot its name as well.
No.
It means that much to me.
Who's it been blown up by? I don't know, some people in the Outer Rim. Who are they? They kind of look like the Empire, but they're not the Empire. I think they're called the First Order.
Yeah.
Well, who are they? Don't know.
They got
It's
stormtroopers
are
though.
They going to take over the galaxy? Don't know. And we never know if they actually do. Do they go to a planet like Naboo and take control?
I don't know. We don't see it.
In Tatooine and all these different areas, we never see it. It would be nice to see that.
Yeah. So maybe a TV show or something that's like Andor of a resistance struggle or something like that, or maybe a normal person who gets occupied by the First Order and then they go on to become a resistance fighter or something like that. Something that makes them seem like a threat and can showcase how exactly they took control of the galaxy.
I didn't feel a threat.
No.
Really.
No.
Not for the outer galaxy. There's a threat for the resistance, but it felt very much like First Order versus the resistance rather than
First Order versus the galaxy.
What would you do if you could reign the rancor?
I think what you said is very good. I would make Finn Poe canon. That's about it.
Oh, do you mean Finn Poe canon? I think there's a big thing about male friendships in Star Wars. I think you see it throughout, and this trilogy continues it, and I think it is something that needs to stay.
I know, but I really like the theory that Poe let Finn keep the jacket because it's from his dad, and he said you should give this jacket to some. He said like, I'll give this jacket to someone that I really like or something like that, and he let him keep it because of that. I don't know. I
think they're best friends, but I don't think there's romantic there. There's no romance.
I can dream. I mean, there's enough material there. So they made Reylo happen for some reason.
I think you have like the friendship of Han, Chewie. You've got Anakin and Obi-Wan, even though that goes bad, but they were friends. And then...
But is that a friendship or is that forced proximity? Because he ends up hating Obi-Wan. Did he hate him the entire time? No, because he complains about Obi-Wan the entire time.
Yeah, but that's because the confusion between being a father and also being a brother.
Yeah, they just,
We'll get
it's
onto
not
that
friendship,
in
I think it's
episode 2 and
brotherhood.
3 when we touch onto it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's it. That's all I've got for Rain in the Rancor.
I honestly don't know. I feel like they could have gone with another plot than
The Last Jedi.
No, I mean the Force Awakens plot, which is Robot has the plans.
It's very similar to A New Hope, yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like they had an entire team. They could have thought of something.
And they had a lot of Legends material out there. Apparently, George Lucas wrote scripts for the 3 films, and then they went, "We're not using this."
Yeah, there's so much creativity to be had in Star Wars. Yet the Force Awakens literally feels like a rehash of A New Hope. I would have just gone with a different plot. You can still have Han and Chewie in there. It's just, it doesn't just have to be, because they obviously didn't think it out, because what we just said, the First Order doesn't feel developed enough, but they want it to be another empire.
Yeah.
But you don't have the foundations to make it another empire. They just come out of nowhere.
Well, they are stuck explaining everything that happens in this trilogy and
Mandoverse?
the Mandoverse.
Yeah,
So,
they're developing that, yes.
and the
but
Bad Batch. And
Disney Plus didn't exist back then. They weren't going to do this, but now they have Disney Plus. They're like, oh, wait, maybe we should flesh out our films like George Lucas did before.
I guess we can talk about it more if we ever do a retrospective of each trilogy. Maybe we can talk about.
I guess so.
That could be a future episode.
Right, let's
We'll
move
see.
on to the last
Topic. That is gift wrap. Do you want to explain gift wrap?
gift wrap. Is when we give our thanks to what either George Lucas or Disney has given us in the film
We
or
could just say
TV show.
Lucasfilm because it's easier.
Lucasfilm in general that we are discussing. So you go first.
There's many new characters that are awesome. I mean, I know they end up getting a little bit ruined, but even if you ignore that, they're still quite cool. I mean, Kylo Ren, he's still very cool. He's a whiny guy, and he's obsessed over Rey.
I like his lightsaber.
But
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
stuff like that. He's very
Cross
cool.
guard.
Like, it matches his personality, how fiery it is, his lightsaber, and it's quite interesting to see. Poe, you know, he's a bit like a brash, cocky fighter pilot
I
type
know,
of guy.
but we've got
and then
loads
he
of
matures
pilots.
as he goes on.
I feel
And I
like we
think
could do with a bit less pilots.
In The Last Jedi, he learns a lot about what leadership is and what to do. And then the episode 9, his character gets a bit weird. Finn, Stormtrooper to Resistance hero.
Oh, that was good.
He should have had more because it turns out he apparently was Force sensitive, but episode 9
Ray,
just
I've
makes
gotta
him
tell you
shout, Ray!
I gotta tell you something.
And Ray, I mean,
I like her costume. I think her hair is iconic.
I would say she's a good character overall, but I feel like there was a lot of potential there that was missed. Same thing with Finn. But I don't feel the same about Kylo and Poe. I don't think there was much more they could have done. I mean, obviously there was a little bit more they could have done, but I don't think they've missed out a massive part of their potential, where I feel like with Rey and Finn, there's a big part of their potential that they've missed out on. But if is it rumours or is it 100% confirmed
Is
that
that happening?
Daisy Ridley films?
Yeah. Well, filmer.
Oh, is it just one film?
Well, I don't know, but they're working on one film at the moment. I'm not sure about a trilogy.
So that is something where her character potential could be explored, because I think there is a massive chance for her character potential.
I think there is a great character there. I mean, her backstory being a scavenger, literally having nothing to going on this journey of self-discovery. I always think those are the best stories in Star Wars, where it's like it could be anyone type thing. I know they try and touch on that in the sequels, but it doesn't really work. But I feel like with the right team, they can take such good care of Rey and show what she is capable of.
I think she's gone through a lot and she's learnt a lot, but she's still very much a clean slate.
Also, the way
Which you could
Daisy,
say is a flaw, but I think you see it as a positive because she's got so much potential, whatever direction she can go.
well, also the way Daisy Ridley portrays her, after all that she goes through, she is still such a kind soul. You can still see that she gets excited over things, and she's really smart and she's really strong. And I feel like Daisy Ridley really added some charm onto her that some other characters just don't have. She does feel like this new type of character. You can feel how kind she is underneath all of it as well, which I think is really endearing. And I would love to see some more of what happens, because I think she'd also be a really good teacher.
Yeah, she could. And that's what I'm saying about her potential. She has the potential to go into teaching. She has the potential to go into just exploration. They could. I mean, again, it's always an area of, as long as it's written well and it's good. But I'm saying that she just has a lot of potential, and they should be using it in the right way. Where, I mean, it's like Chewbacca, he doesn't have much potential. He's already a well-established character. We know what he's like. There's not much more where he can go.
Do you think he'd hang out with Rey?
Yeah, he could. But
I feel like
I don't
he'd hang
think
out with
that's anything new to his character, where there's a lot more that can be done with Rey's character, a lot more development.
Yeah. Also, John Williams' theme for her is impeccable. If we didn't have Rey, we wouldn't have Rey's theme, and Rey's theme is just iconic.
That's just John Williams cooking. He's brilliant. That's another gift wrap from Lucasfilm, just John Williams.
Thank you for bringing him back. I really enjoyed it. It's a really, really good soundtrack, and Rey's theme is like one of the staples of Star Wars now. It just sounds so Rey and so fresh yet familiar at the same time. It just feels so Star Wars. So thank you, John Williams. Oh, there's a bit of news. The new John Williams documentary coming out 1st of November.
Yeah, but that'll be across all films, not just Star Wars.
Star Wars posted it, all right? There's going to be some Star Wars in there. It made him like front and center. So,
is there anything else you want to add to the gift wrap, or are we going to wrap up the episode?
I really like
Dual
BB-8.
meaning of gift wrap.
I really like BB-8, and I really like the new lightsaber designs. And they did lightsabers really well in the sequels.
That's one thing I forgot to mention is the light of the lightsabers.
Yes, really good.
Really, really good. The fact that the lightsabers emit light and you can see it on their faces, and they use it for so many things.
The fight in the woods does look great. It looks really, really good.
Lightsabers give off light, and that's something that was missed in the.
Them doing it at night was genius from the showrunners.
That was something missed in the prequels. They just look like a beam of plastic in a way. Still, they still look like lightsabers, but now they feel like lightsabers.
It's definitely to do with the technology development.
They were fighting with basically an LED blade. They were fighting with the toy lightsabers that we may or may not have and have spent hundreds of pounds on.
So I don't know how they got that effect, but having the fight at night was genius because it just looks so good. But yeah.
Is that everything? Shall we gift wrap it up? All right. Well, thank you for listening. And we are on another regular release schedule. So you should be expecting another episode next Friday.
Don't know what it's on yet.
Hope you enjoy this regular release and let us know if you enjoy it or it's too much. We don't really know what we're doing.
Just stop. Just stop.
Just give up, please.
Whoa.
Anyway, hope you've enjoyed The Force Awakens, and we'll see you next week. So goodbye. Maybe like and subscribe if you can.
Don't like and subscribe. Please rate the podcast because it really helps us
only if
reach
it's a
more
good
viewers.
rating, of course.
If it's 1 star, sure. Okay.
But, I mean, it's like, come on.
Please.
Anyway, all right, that's the end. See ya. Bye.
See ya. Thank you.